Välkommen! Welcome to the Ersjons 1852 project. A project about moving a timber house from one view to another view. In this first YouTube episode, we will give you an introduction to the entire project, our ideas and philosophy behind it. My name is Ulf Boman, and I am one part of the core team of this project. The other part is my son Måns, who has been enormously helpful in this project and made it possible. Of course, we also have an entire set of experts involved in the project for plumbing, electricity, sewer system, ventilation, etc. Right now it's mid-January 2023. We're in a kind of resting period of the project between taking the house apart and rebuilding it. It's a sunny winter day, and this is where we're going to rebuild the house. Before we get here, if you follow our YouTube channel, will see how we took the house apart. We have a foundation set underneath this tarp, and we will anytime now start to put the house up again. The entire timber of the house is laying under these snowy tarps, covered. So we have some work to do before we can start. But it's almost on the way. So join us and look at how we took the house apart and how we got here. And follow us to the next part that will be to rebuild it in this place. That is a good question. Isn't it easier just to build a new house from scratch using new wood? Yes, maybe. But there is something special about moving an old house. For one thing, an old timber house is made to be movable. There's almost no nails in the house, and everything is set up to be able to take apart. And we will show you that in this project. A second reason to move a timber house is sustainability. We're reusing old wood. We're keeping as much as we can of floors, ceilings, etc. Of course, it's a lot of work, and in many cases more work than just to build a new house. It's not cheaper to move an old timber house than to build a new one from scratch. Maybe you can save some cost, but it's also a big charm in the process. The process of creating, building, rebuilding something. I want to give you a sense of where in the world this project is taking place. We're in Europe. We're in Sweden, and more exactly in the county of Jämtland, up in the middle of the country. We're in the small community of Åre, and as you can see on the map, we have Trondheim at the Norwegian coast, and the biggest town in this area is Ersjons, you can see on the right. We moved to the small community of Kallrör, and we're going to move the house to another small community not far from there. It's called Ersjons. It might sound strange, but we found the house on Facebook, on one of these buy and sell sites. It was for sale and you had to move it in a certain time. Luckily, we had a lot that would fit the house exactly. And on that lot, we even it had been an old timber barn once that was exactly the same size as the house that we were going to move. We will explain the entire history behind the name Ersjons 1852 in the first episode of part 1. But we also added a subtitle, Moving a Timber House from One View to Another, because we thought that explains the project in one sentence. We are moving from this view, a view of a big lake and the mountains in the back, to this, another big view of mountains, without the lake, but with the wide views. This is a project with 3 different parts. The first part is to disassemble and move the big timber house and reuse as much as possible of floors, roof, etc. The second part is to put it together again and rebuild it into a fully modern house. And we also aim to do this on a strict budget. The third part is to use wood from the timber house to make furniture and other interior details for the new house. To start this project up, let's walk through the house so you can see what this is all about. The house was built somewhere around 1850. That was the information we had. It's quite a big house, and the family that once built it must have been quite wealthy. In general, it's in very good condition when it's come to the wood. There's very little rotten. It has been dry and it has been kept in good condition. On these walls there has been wallpaper, but those were already torn down when we bought the house. One reason why this house was in such a good condition is probably because it hadn't any electricity or almost any water installed. We now enter the kitchen, and in here you can see the only water tap that was in the house. The walls, some walls were covered with wallpaper, other walls were covered with wood. In the 1800s, they wanted to cover up the timber, not as today when timber details is seen as a nice part of a new building. As I said, in general, the condition of the wood is really good. We're going to walk up to the second floor. The staircase up is very, very steep, so we will not be able to reuse it. To the left, when we get up, there's an addition, the entrance to the house. And this was built earlier on. Earlier in this case, in the beginning of the 1900s. So it's still 120-year-old. We will not rebuild this entrance part of the house, but we will use as much as we can of the wood. We will also use as much as we can of wood around the windows. I really like the blue color and how it stayed this way. We will also use the wood floors, of course. One curiosity with this house is that no one have lived here for around 50 years. We think the last people that lived here was somewhere around 1950-60. And that also explains why there hasn't been electricity installed. We will take you through all the parts of taking this house down and rebuilding it. Thank you for watching this introduction to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to follow us, to see how we step by step took the house apart and how we eventually going to rebuild it. Thank you for watching.